What's going on there, YouTube? And welcome back to another comic book video. This time we are going to continue our coverage over the Batman Adventures. The adventure continues. For newcomers to this series, this was a new title DC dropped this year as a way to give us some stories that tie into the hit 90s Batman show, Batman the Animated Series. And the sole purpose of this book was to bring in Red Hood in this universe, because in this show we were told it was Dick Grayson and then it was Tim Drake, making it seem like there was never a Jason Todd until now. In this video, we are going to bring in another character into this universe we did not see in the TV show either, and that character is Deathstroke. And so I do hope you enjoy today's video. We begin today's story by picking up with Jason Todd, as this is the series trying to bring in Jason Todd into the DC animated universe. We see that Jason Todd was just walking around the city until he hears a commotion coming down the street. That is when he sees Batman, Tim Drake, Robin, and Batgirl fighting against Clayface. Now this is the first time Jason Todd is seeing Tim Drake, and where for him this is painful to see, because to him it seems like he was just replaced and Batman moved on like nothing happened. Now this is where we see Clayface split into two, where you have Batman deal with one of the Clayface while Batgirl and Robin chase down the second Clayface. Now of course we see that Tim Drake let his anger get the best of him when Clayface takes the appearance of one of his friends, where it leads to Tim Drake about to be taken out by Clayface until we get our first look at Deathstroke in the animated series, where he actually saves Robin and Batgirl and also defeats Clayface for them, making it seem like he is a good guy in this universe. Now of course, Batman heard of Deathstroke, but does not know much about Deathstroke, so he does not know if he is a good guy or is he a bad guy. This is where we see Batman go visit Commissioner Gordon and see if he knows more about Deathstroke, where you have Gordon tell him that most of the stories about Deathstroke were true. He is one of the deadliest men in the world, and now he is in Gotham. Now we pick up with Barbara Gordon Batgirl, where we see her just out on parole by herself, catching a low-level villain that no one cares for. But that is when she is confronted by Deathstroke, and this begins the long plan that Deathstroke has in this book. But this is Deathstroke trying to get Batgirl to trust him, where of course Batgirl does not know if she can trust him. This random man appears with a name like Deathstroke, and Batman is kinda iffy on, and she has all the rights not to trust him. And this is where you have Deathstroke tell her that she is being watched, and of course it is Jason Todd. And as soon as Jason Todd hears that, you have Jason Todd try to get out of there before Batgirl is able to find him. This leads to the next day, where we see Batgirl telling Batman and Robin about Deathstroke confronting her. But the most important part that she tells Bruce Wayne is that someone is watching them, and Deathstroke was able to figure out that someone was watching Batgirl last night. And so this leads to Batman now wondering who is watching them, but also what should he do with the Deathstroke problem they have now. Now this is where we pick up with Deathstroke going back to his base, and where we see him run into his partner, which is a young lady named Sunny, and this is where we find out that Deathstroke is a bad guy, which is not a real shocker there, but this leads into him revealing that he was the one who let Clayface go loose in the city earlier to learn more about the Bat family, but also tell us he is here to kill Batman. This is where we pick up the next day, where we see Robin is right now on his motorcycle, and he is supposed to be heading home because it is a school night, except he ignores what Batman and Alfred told him to do, mainly because he sees Deathstroke. And even though Batman told Robin that Deathstroke is someone to watch out for, Robin feels like he should follow Deathstroke to see what he is up to. Now this is where we see Deathstroke entering a museum, where it looks like he is breaking into the place, except he is not really here breaking into this place to steal stuff. This is him continuing with his long game plan. Now Robin confronts him because to Robin it seems like Deathstroke broke in here to steal stuff, and that is when you have Deathstroke tell him he is here for another reason, and that reason is to stop Firefly. Now Firefly did appear in the TV show back in the day, and Batman was able to stop him. Now Firefly appeared and was gone like that, and he was not a constant villain in the show. Same for the comic. Now after Batman defeated Firefly, Firefly did continue a life of crime, of course, except on one of his last missions there was an accident and it scarred his face, and ever since that day it made him more crazy in the head. And we learned this all from Deathstroke while he is telling Robin. Now you have Deathstroke ask Robin to join him on his mission to stop Firefly. Again, this is all part of Deathstroke's plan, and this is all a gain to him. But we also see that Robin is beginning to trust Deathstroke in a way, but he sees Deathstroke as this cool character he wants to be around. Now we pick up with Batman fighting against the Mad Hatter, and this is a villain where he is not even a challenge for Batman really. And you just see Batman defeat all of the Mad Hatter's men and Mad Hatter himself. And so Batman is thinking that his night is over. But of course, when he goes to the rooftop of the building, he sees a flashlight coming from another building, telling him that Jason Todd was watching him again. And so Batman rushes to get over to that building to finally confront Jason Todd. Remember, he does not know that this is Jason Todd, but when he gets to the other building, Jason Todd is already gone, and Batman must continue to wonder who is watching him. This is where we jump over to Robin and Deathstroke, where they finally run into Firefly, and this begins a battle with the two sides. And the big thing about Firefly is that his main weapon is his flamethrower. And so most of the time, if you take that away from him, he is really powerless, that almost anyone can beat him then. Now this is where you have Deathstroke and Robin able to take the flamethrower away from Firefly, but the problem is that Firefly has a new weapon now, where he is able to shoot flames from his mouth, which makes things harder for Deathstroke and Robin. And while the fight is going on, we are seeing that Firefly has tons of different tech he had added into this suit. Not just being able to shoot flames from his mouth, he can now shoot flames out of his hands as well. His whole armor is basically a flamethrower now, which is interesting for the character. And this is putting Robin and Deathstroke's skills to the challenge, and they are actually having a hard time with him. Now while the fight is going on, Batman is looking for Robin because Alfred called up Batman to tell him that Robin never came back home. And so this leads to Batman going out looking for him, where of course this is when Batman sees smoke coming from a building, telling him that basically Robin must be over there. And this leads to Batman actually jumping into the battle and saving Robin and Deathstroke from Firefly. Now this leads up to this moment where we see Firefly being able to escape Batman, Deathstroke, and Robin. This leads to Batman and Deathstroke having a conversation, but this is where you have Batman wanting to know why Deathstroke is here in Gotham 4, where you have Deathstroke explain that he was hired to bring in Firefly, but does not tell him who hired him, just that whoever did wants him to stop Firefly no matter what. And this is where you have Batman applying that he does not want Deathstroke to kill Firefly. And so if Deathstroke finds out where Firefly will be at, he must call up Batman and let him know. This is where we pick up the next day and we learn a few things at Wayne Manor, where we come to find out that Robin is grounded now for not obeying Batman orders. This also leads into the point where we see that Batman is in the Batcave watching camera footage of Jason Todd. Except he cannot get a clear picture of Jason Todd because every angle he is covered up in darkness, making it hard to see him. But Batman does realize that this man is the real deal and could be dangerous. Then we pick up with Jason Todd and we see that he is listening in on Deathstroke talking to his assistant about killing Batman. And this is where we learn that Firefly has never been in Gotham, that actually the whole time it was Deathstroke assistant Sonny pretending to be Firefly. And this was a way for Deathstroke to learn more about Batman and the Bat family. But then at the end of the chapter, we learn that the person who hired Deathstroke to kill Batman was no other than Lex Luthor. This is where we pick up the following day and we see the bat signal going off, meaning that the GCPD is calling for Batman. Except when he gets there, he only sees Deathstroke, while Gordon and his men are all knocked out. The reason why is because Deathstroke supposedly knows where Firefly is at. Now we know Firefly is really Deathstroke's assistant pretending to be Firefly. But you have Batman believe Deathstroke and they go after Firefly. This is where we pick up with Batgirl working at the library, where she's on the phone with Robin, and Robin just complains about being grounded and not being out there with Batman. Also thinks that Batman took Batgirl instead of him, but she tells him that is not true. Now this is where she finds a note, and the note is from Jason Todd telling her something is a trap, and we know the trap is about Batman being targeted by Deathstroke. And so we pick up with Batman and Deathstroke arriving at this warehouse and of course begin to look for Firefly. And this leads to them splitting up to go find Firefly quicker. But of course when they do split up, Firefly appears and confronts Batman. And with them fighting, Batman begins to realize that this is not Firefly. He starts to see the differences between this Firefly and the last one. This one is too tall, and the way he speaks as well. And so with him realizing the difference between this Firefly and the last one, he knows something is up. And where he takes off the mask of the fake Firefly and finds out that this is just a young lady, which of course is Deathstroke assistant Sonny. This is where you have Deathstroke make his move and begin to do battle with Batman. Except Deathstroke is actually getting the upper hand on Batman, where it does seem like he might win. But also you have Deathstroke tell Batman he's just not here to kill him, that he actually has another purpose, and he wants to take over Batman's operations. He wants to be the hero of Gotham and even take in Batman's sidekicks as well. And so this is really him just wanting to replace Batman. And this leads up to the moment where Batman is about to be killed by Deathstroke. This is where you have Batgirl and Robin appear to save Batman at the very last second and leads into another battle, where you have the Bat family battle against Deathstroke, where of course you get a few pages of the battle, but the end the Bat family wins, which of course we knew that was going to happen, and so the day is saved. But then this leads into the conclusion where we pick up with the Bat family chilling in the Bat cave. And the main topic of this conversation is that Batgirl got a tip about Deathstroke setting up a trap for Batman from a mysterious person. And no one knows who this mysterious person is, except Batman can confirm he knows about everyone's secret identity and will soon confront the Bat family. And this is where we're going to end today's video. And so guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe for more comic book stories like this in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here, and I will see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.